Hello again everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well, and today's video we're going to be tackling a question that is always asked in a number of live streams, every live stream in fact so far, and also a number of our video comments too. So hit like and subscribe, and of course all the links relevant to today's video will be down in the description below. We're in New Zealand for this video, Rotorua Airport NZRO, and we're enjoying our brand new Special Edition Anzac Osprey Regional livery for the ATR 72600, painted by the wonderful Damo Designs. The question, of course, that we're going to answer today is, what is the wheel thing? Frequently shown and used during our live streams, and that is Parallel 42's Flow Pro for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's a really handy widget that I resisted for a little while. I thought, what's even the point in it? But I couldn't really sort of fly without it now, to be totally honest with you guys. There are three different versions. There is a free version, an essential version with a few more basic features, and then Pro, which is the one that we are using, available via Orbex. This allows you to install and effectively use and create widgets, custom widgets, to enhance your sim experience. Control Visualiser being one of those, down on the bottom left. That's what I'm always using every flight now, to show you the control inputs that we're making on the aeroplane during the flight. The landing rate widget is a special widget that is used, giving us our landing rating, and that is available on flightsim.to, as is the SimBrief OFP widget. This is really useful because, especially for those of you in VR, you can basically stay in the flight deck, certainly with a single screen setup as well perhaps. It gives you all of the information that you need displayed on the screen, so that you can punch it all into the FMC without having to toggle in and out of the sim, if you're certainly on a one screen setup. Very, very useful tool indeed. It's also a nice way that I can show you guys the flight plans and the information that I'm loading into the aeroplane during live stream. So sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't, but it's very useful for you to use in your own sim. The wind visualizer gives you the live weather. It's a bit of a weird way of displaying the wind, to be honest. I have got it installed. I've tried to use it a couple of times. Don't really get on with it, but some of you might find it useful. I personally don't like the way it displays the wind, because it's very difficult to understand unless you specifically know what direction that little circle is relating to. I'd rather have a feature that shows exactly where the wind strength is and the direction of it, in a very quick, easy to understand fashion, without you having to apply much brain thought to it. VATSIM ATIS is another really good one. Again, I'll link it in the description down below. It effectively uses the auto search bar, which is a search function within Parallel 42's Flow Pro. Now, if we were to search for an ATIS for an airport on VATSIM that has ATC online, like Heathrow at the moment as we record this, it will load you that VATSIM digital ATIS onto your screen, so you can take all of the data that you need without even having to consult the ATIS text section on vPilot. Time is another function, and that allows us to change the sim time. Lovely, look at that, to whatever time we want, and if we click in the center, it will zip it all the way to live time. And below that, I've got the weather function, so we can go ahead and change the weather to different functions as and how and when we see fit. But for all intents and purposes, I'll just leave it all on live time most of the time anyway. When flying around various different aircraft and streaming and creating videos, I have a camera widget enabled as well. This basically lets me change the drone camera settings, toggle head tracking and follow aircraft on and off, and then quickly snap between various different preset cameras as well, but effectively only really use it in drone camera to control the drone camera settings and how that drone camera interacts with the aeroplane that I'm flying. So each different aircraft in different size will require a slightly different setting, and you'll come up with your own basically based on feel and how that drone operates. Now the other big one GSX. Again, another widget from flightsim.to. It allows you to just click once to load up your GSX menu. Really handy. Now, how do you get all of those widgets installed and configured? The ones you download off flightsim.to will come in a zip. You extract the zip, take the folder and you put it into your MSFS community folder, or if you're using a function like add-on linker, you'll pop it into a relevant folder that you can then symlink. To activate the flow menu, I have it set to tab. You might need to follow the instructions of Parallel 4.2's flow to try and set up your own version, but the tab key does it for me. Head to the cog, and from there you've got various different options like the interface. Disabling the default toolbar is a really good one because it then stops this drop down menu up here from activating. Off it goes. You can as well, if you want to, skip to the world map when you're loading in the sim for the first time to bypass that initial menu, and also skip that ready to fly toggle sort of screen at the start as you spawn in. All the other options within the menu allow you to toggle and tweak a few different functions within the Parallel 4.2 menu and the way it interacts with the sim. How do we install those widgets? Once they're in the community folder and we've loaded the sim, we press tab to activate the wheel, and you can just find any widget and press and hold it, and it'll expand the box to your settings toggle. Initially, you may be greeted by an empty wheel, so you can go ahead and pre-populate it with anything you want. What you will find is those widgets you've installed being at the very top under the community widgets section, and you can see the developers of those, so SimBrief, Landing Rate, and 2x GSX Launcher and the VATSIM ATIS. And all you do is you just click and drag to the tile to set it in the position that you want it in. And you can move them all around, and you can overwrite them as and when you wish and how you feel, as you kind of get used to using Parallel 4.2 Flow Pro. On the second wheel, I've got various different options here for the servers that we are using inside the sim to toggle things like photogrammetry and everything else, and I've set them up accordingly because sometimes one or two might go down and might get bugged out somewhat, and we can then in the sim during the flight just toggle to a different one automatically via the automatic server option, or we can choose one specifically, North Europe, West Europe and so on. And then I've got a few other bits that I might need depending on the aircraft we're using, like the ATR. Might need a weight and balance option, so I've got that toggled there. Speaking of specific options to the aircraft, there is another wheel, Dynamic Wheel Delta 1. So if we click across enough, you go to the dynamic wheel, and it will then try and pick up the aircraft that you are using. Because of issues within MSFS and the current setup of the ATRs, it shows as aircraft.ui_model. I'm hoping that will change in the future, but don't be surprised if you try this and it says at some point in the future ATR 72600, because all they've done is likely just updated it and fixed that little cock up inside the config options. But within here you can scroll around and you can look at the doors, and you can set doors 1 and 2. You can set widgets for toggling the avionics master and the battery master switches, so on and so forth, to get it set up exactly how you want it to be set up effectively. Things like lights, you can turn your landing lights on and off via a widget if you wish, same with gear retraction and everything else too. So the beauty of this is you can configure it exactly how you want, and the dynamic wheels that we're just talking about at the moment are specific to each aircraft that you use. So the dynamic wheel that we set up here for the ATR will look very different on a 737, because the 737's dynamic wheel will be blank until we populate it with something else ourselves. Now, to delete anything that you've added in as a widget, if you don't want to use it anymore, You can either drag it around to move the position or to delete. You just select it and press the red bin icon and it will just double check. Are you sure you want to delete Toggle Avionics Master? Proceed. And then it, boom, gone. Disappeared. The great thing with this is you can set different widgets up. You can tweak them, you can delete them if you make mistakes. It is entirely customizable based on how you want your sim to look and feel, with Flow Pro working with you in the background and alongside you during flights. If and when you fill up the static wheels, static wheel 1 gets full, it will automatically generate static wheel 2, and then as that fills up, it will then automatically generate static wheel 3 for you as well. So the idea there being is you will never run out of static wheels or dynamic wheels. There will always be a new one ready to be used and created. Now, I was going to say, in a nutshell, that is Parallel 42's Flow Pro for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's ended up becoming a slightly longer video than I expected, of course, naturally. There are lots of different things uniquely within the add-on to discuss. I hope you found the video useful. Again, I've put the links to the widgets that I'm using that you can download on flightsim.to in the description today. I hope you're liking a nice preview of our Anzac Special Edition Osprey Regional Livery for the ATR for our Osprey Airways fleet. Hit like and subscribe and have a little look for our live stream schedule. In the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.